You sit down to relax. Everything is fine. Nothing is wrong. The work is done. The day is over. The house is quiet. And yet something in you will not settle. Your eyes drift to the door. Your body stays slightly tense. Your mind keeps scanning for something it cannot name. You tell yourself it is stress. It is not stress. The reason you cannot fully relax goes back much further than anything that happened to you this week. It goes back to a time when relaxing completely could get you killed.
For the vast majority of human history, your ancestors were not at the top of the food chain. This is one of the most uncomfortable facts in all of evolutionary biology, and it is one that most people never encounter. The version of early human history most people carry in their heads is one of dominance, spears, fire, hunting parties, masters of the landscape. But the fossil record tells a very different story. The bones of early Homo sapiens and their predecessors show a species that was, for millions of years, prey as much as predator. Claw marks from large cats have been found on early human skulls. Eagle talon marks have been found on the eye sockets of ancient hominid children. You did not descend from apex predators. You descended from creatures that were hunted regularly for a very long time.
The neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux at New York University has spent decades mapping the brain's threat detection systems. His research identified the amygdala as the brain's primary alarm center, a small structure that evolved specifically to detect danger and respond to it faster than conscious thought. LeDoux found that the amygdala receives threat signals along two pathways: a fast pathway that bypasses conscious awareness entirely and triggers a physical response before you even know what you saw, and a slower pathway that brings the conscious mind into the loop afterward to assess whether the threat was real. In the ancient world, the fast pathway kept you alive. The slow pathway let you learn from what just happened. Together, they created a system permanently biased toward vigilance.
That bias is still running in you right now! The psychologist Martin Seligman coined the term prepared learning to describe the way certain fears come pre-installed in the human nervous system. Humans do not need to be bitten by a snake to fear snakes. They do not need to be attacked by a large predator to feel unease in open spaces at night. The fear comes ready-made, primed by millions of years of ancestors who survived precisely because they felt it. Seligman's research showed that humans acquire fears related to ancient threats: snakes, heights, darkness, open exposure, with just one or two negative exposures, sometimes with none at all. But we are remarkably resistant to acquiring fears of genuinely modern dangers, like electrical outlets or cars, even when those things have actually harmed us. The nervous system is not calibrated to the present. It is calibrated to a past that no longer exists.
Think about what your body does in a quiet room at night. Your hearing sharpens, your eyes adjust and keep scanning. A small sound makes your pulse jump. None of this is neurosis. All of this is ancient hardware, running exactly as designed in an environment it was never built for.
There is a concept in evolutionary biology called the landscape of fear. The ecologist Joel Brown at the University of Illinois developed this framework to describe how prey animals navigate their environment, not just by where food is, but by where danger might be. Prey animals do not simply eat and sleep and move around freely. They are constantly running a background calculation. How exposed am I right now? Who might be watching? Where is the nearest cover? Is this worth the risk? This vigilance has a metabolic cost. It burns energy. It suppresses digestion. It keeps the nervous system running hotter than it needs to when nothing is actually wrong. Brown's research showed that the mere presence of predator cues, a smell, a sound, a shadow, keeps prey animals in a state of low-level physiological stress even when no predator is actually there.
You are running that same calculation right now in your living room. The cues that trigger it have simply changed. Your nervous system was shaped to respond to open exposure, to darkness at the edges of a camp, to sounds that break the pattern of a quiet night, to the feeling of being watched. In the modern world, those same triggers fire in response to very different stimuli. The open-plan office where you cannot see who is behind you, the crowded subway platform where your body registers dozens of unknown individuals in your personal space, the midnight scroll through news that your amygdala processes as a stream of unresolved threats. The nervous system cannot distinguish between a predator in the grass and a notification on your phone. Both arrive as signal, both demand a response, and neither one fully resolves. This is why you cannot switch off. The ancient threat detection system was never designed to switch off completely. Switching off completely was a death sentence. The humans whose nervous systems fully relaxed in unprotected environments did not survive to pass on those nervous systems. The ones who kept a low hum of vigilance running even during rest, who startled at sounds, who slept lightly, who kept their backs to solid surfaces and their eyes on open space, those are the humans who survived. You are their descendant. You inherited the hum.
The anthropologist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard University has written about what he calls evolutionary mismatches, situations where the body is running adaptations that made sense in the ancestral environment but create problems in the modern one. Chronic background vigilance is one of the clearest examples. In the ancient world, the low hum of threat awareness was adaptive. It kept you alive. In the modern world, where most of the threats that once justified it no longer exist, the same system keeps running, burns energy, disrupts sleep, raises cortisol, and produces the persistent low-grade tension that most people mistake for stress, anxiety, or simply the unavoidable background noise of modern life. It is not background noise. It is a smoke alarm in a house where the fire went out 200,000 years ago. It is still detecting smoke because it was never told the fire is gone.
So what do you do with this? You cannot uninstall the system, but understanding it changes your relationship with it. The tension in your body when you sit down and cannot settle is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is not evidence of weakness or anxiety or an inability to cope. It is one of the oldest survival mechanisms in the animal kingdom, running in a body that has not yet received the update. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it was built to do. It just does not know that the savanna is gone.
The next time you catch yourself scanning a room for no reason, or flinching at a sound that turned out to be nothing, or sitting with your back to the wall in a restaurant without quite knowing why, notice what is actually happening. You are not anxious. You are ancient. And the part of you that cannot fully relax is the same part that kept every single one of your ancestors alive long enough to become you.
You sit down to relax. Everything is fine. Nothing is wrong. And somewhere deep in the oldest part of your brain, something leans forward in the dark and keeps watching anyway. It has always been there.
It always will be. 200,000 years. The reason your line survived.